Welcome back to the Dark Reading News Desk here at Black Hat 2023. Terry Sweeney here with Dark Reading, and I'm delighted to welcome back to the news desk John Shire, Field CTO of Commercial for Sophos. John, nice to see you again. Appreciate you doing the Dark Reading News Desk.
Well, thank you for allowing us to share our research with you guys again.
Yeah, we appreciate it. So to that point, you just put out some new threat intelligence with regard to Royal ransomware. Tell us a bit about that and some of the discoveries.
Yeah, so our Sophos XOps team, in conjunction with our MDR group, released some research this week at Black Hat that was looking at some attacks that we investigated back in earlier this year, so early 2023. And some of the things that they found were just very interesting indicators, right? There were some file names, some scripts specifically that had the exact same file names and exact same contents. There were some accounts that were created on the victims that were the same account usernames, they were using the same passwords as well, and then the payload archives, these 7-zip archives, were using an identical password to decrypt them. And in and of themselves, independently, these IOCs might not mean too much, but when you start to stack them together, they start to, to point to patterns and maybe some groups that are potentially behind these. And so these 4 attacks involved 3 different ransomware groups: Hive prior to their demise, as well as Black Basta. But what was interesting was that Royal was part of that data set. And the reason it's interesting is because Royal is not known to work with affiliates. And so we kind of think that probably one individual or a group of individuals were working towards this goal. But why was Royal involved? And that's kind of the question we started asking.
Apparently they want to become the Amway of ransomware or something. But
hopefully not.
Obviously, it seems like they are leveraging the affiliate model in some way, yes?
Well, so that's the thing, is I don't think we can conclusively say, with 100% certainty that Royal is now using an affiliate model, but to date they haven't. And so it leaves us to think, well, okay, so maybe this is part of that fracturing of the Conti group, because Royal is sort of a downstream affiliate of the Conti breakup, right? As our groups like Black Basta and Karakurt, which is data extortion only. But these individuals, when the group fractured, might have gone on and done their own thing, but because they might know the Royal guys from their previous working together, they might be trialing an affiliate model or throwing them a bone because they've got a juicy victim and they know these guys are competent, so we'll throw these guys a bone, we'll let them breach the victim and carry out the attack. So it's hard to say, but I think if Royal is starting to go down the affiliate model route, it could be somewhat concerning.
Is it also concerning just the fracturing piece, and that this malicious element has spun off and seems to be gaining some momentum?
Well, that's the thing, is when these groups do spin off and rebrand and fracture and reform, right, we sometimes get more groups than we had before. But also, as far as being able to stop this, it does have to involve law enforcement, and we're not able to. It seems we're not able to get to the actual principles behind this stuff to get them behind bars, really, to get them convicted. But part of the concerning aspect is the fact that Royal, having been born out of Conti, having been born out of Ryuk in 2018, right? You've got now, like, what's that, 5 years of experience of filling the war chest with funds, ill-gotten gains, right?
Sure.
They have the expertise, they have the ability to develop and innovate things using that war chest. And so if Royal is now starting to scale out, I really don't want to see what's going to happen after that.
A lot of companies are more focused on where threats are coming from. In contrast, Sophos takes the approach of it's more important to focus on clusters of threat activity rather than the attribution or sourcing. Talk about why that is, and what you feel how that differentiates what Sophos does.
So attribution absolutely has its time and place, right? I mentioned law enforcement. They are it's very useful for them when they have attribution to be able to then go and actually prosecute individuals. But when it comes to protection, when it comes to just being able to defend your networks, right? Knowing that Lockbit is attacking you, for example, right? That's important. You need to know their playbooks. But if you're going to detect things sooner, so if you want to reduce your time to detection, right? Having these indicators clustered together that form a fingerprint of the attack chain of a ransomware group, regardless of what the branding is on the ransom note at the end, I think helps us detect these things sooner, which we can then start rolling our incident response playbooks sooner, and potentially limit the amount of penetration and damage that these groups are doing within our networks.
Okay. How do organizations look for these activity clusters? Is that something they have readily access to, or how does that work?
So within some of our tools, like our XDR tools, they can use some queries to be able to look for these clusters. We will also be provide our customers with these indicators so that they can go hunt for it themselves. And so yeah, within the telemetry that is available to them using the Sophos products, they can actually hunt for these, or they can ask us to partner with them and hunt together.
Okay. How might they use the same intelligence to better protect themselves?
Well, knowing how these attacks unfold can inform your defense, right? If we start to think about things like initial access, knowing that exploiting vulnerabilities and compromised credentials are the top two ways that criminals get into networks, well, now you can start thinking about, well, what's my patching program look like, and how's our authentication? Is it strong enough? Is it phishing resistant? And if it's not, knowing that with this intelligence, knowing that they are using these tactics, then you might want to go and look and shore up those areas as well. So in terms of telemetry, visibility, right? If you don't have the right telemetry to be able to see this activity in the first place, then you might want to spend some budget gathering the tools that are necessary to do that. So it helps you not only create policies and processes within the organization that keep you more secure, but also gives you a guide onto how to spend your probably limited security budget.
Sure, of course. Speaking of reports, Sophos is preparing its active adversary report. Can you give us a sneak peek at some of the findings?
Sure. So yeah, I just finished doing the first 6 months of this year, so we're going to have fresh data. So the last time I think we were talking about the active adversary for 2020, the data year of 2022, and so now I'm going to have all the data for the first 6 months of this year. And what's concerning is dwell time is continuing to sink. So I think we talked about that last time, and we're seeing it sink again. And specifically for ransomware, we're seeing the time halved now. So the time from when they break into the network to launching their ransomware is down to a median of 5 days from 9 days last year. So that's quite concerning.
Is that because they're getting better at doing the inventory of where the goods are, or is it because discovery times have shrunk that much?
I think it's both. I think we are, as an industry, as practitioners, are getting better at detecting things. We're deploying more tools like XDR. We're deploying more services like MDR. And so that time to detect is shrinking. However, the criminals, the well-resourced ones, the ones that know what they're doing, they recognize this, and so they're basically, I believe, speeding up, and they're honing their playbooks to be able to work that much faster within our network. So the positives that we're piling into the defense is actually causing, I think, this reaction from the cyber criminals.
Okay. Anything else you can share with us from the report?
Protect your Active Directory. I don't want to scoop myself, but there's an interesting stat there that's going to come out talking about how criminals are very much focused on getting on Active Directory. And also, the time of day with which they attack is really outside of normal working hours. We're able to sort of map these attacks, specifically the ransomware deployments, and they're happening outside business hours and very close to the weekend. So if you don't have the capability to monitor your network for this kind of activity 24/7, 365, then you're going to miss things, and it could end up in a full-blown ransomware attack.
Well, John, nothing to do with you, but I notice after we speak, I'm always a little bit more nervous, and today's no exception. But all the same, it's nice to see you and appreciate you stopping by the Dark Reading News Desk. Thanks very much.
Seeing you as well, and thank you for having me.
We've been talking with John Shire of Sophos. This has been Terry Sweeney for the Dark Reading News Desk. Thanks for joining us for this segment. We'll see you next time.